This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I got to tell you a story up front. I can't say where it was. I can't even say what city it was in. But I went to the grocery store yesterday, and I was standing in line waiting. Matter of fact, I bought this stuff. It's called Super Coffee. This stuff is phenomenal. It's like caramel latte. There's only 70 calories in it.
Mm-hmm. Does it play like the superhero da, 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 every time you take a sip?
Yes, indeed. That's exactly
Super coffee.
Super coffee. So in any case, I'm checking out, and as I'm standing there, I see a couple of registers away that this guy's kind of raising his voice. The cashier is raising his voice. And so I'm kind of looking at him, and my cashier says, "Yeah, isn't that guy something?" I said, "Yeah, what's that all about?" He said, "He's mean to the kids, the baggers, doesn't matter boys or girls, doesn't matter. He's mean to them. He's even mean to some customers. Matter of fact, sir, would you mind beating him up for us?" Oh, I said, "What?" I said, "Could you go beat him up?" I said, "Well, I don't, no. Boy, look at the time. I got to get back to work." "What do you mean? It's like 7:00 at night." "Well, I still have to get back to work." She wants me to go beat up one of the cashiers. You must get that once in a while.
I love when employees kind of like break whatever the fifth wall or whatever it's called and kind of let the customers in on like, "Hey, we all collectively can't stand Rodney over here.
Right.
He's an ass to everybody."
Yeah.
But
he called, no showed the last two shifts. He showed up late today. He's been leaning on the counter. We're all sweeping and mopping. This guy is over here. Chop, chop. Like, yeah. Tom, get over there and feed Rodney a knuckle sandwich.
Now, the one thing I have to tell you that I thought it was wonderful, actually. There was a kid, one of the baggers was about probably 16, 17, 18, something like that.
Okay.
Not a very big guy. He's probably about, 5'8", something like that. But it's normal size. He's a normal size guy. Mm-hmm. Pretty thin and all that stuff. But after she said, "Would you go beat him up for us? Because we're sick to death of the guy. He treats everybody like dirt." The kid says, "Oh, I could go do it." And she looked at him like, "Yeah, okay." I've never had that happen before. Asked to go beat up a cashier because they're sick to death of his attitude. I thought that was hilarious.
That's great.
just sits there and complains every time somebody doesn't go through the self-checkout line. He's like,
"Oh,
I
yeah,
have to do more stuff now." Jesus.
I guess that's what the guy does. Like, "What are you doing in my line?" I was like, "I'm spending money is what I'm doing in your line, you dumbass." It's just understandable. Are people getting worse by the day with that stuff?
I think so. I think we're creeping closer to I'm appalled when I go to the store and there's not a self-checkout. Personally, I want to if I have two things, I don't want to stand in line for 20 minutes just to get it scanned. I can do that myself. But at some stores, it's very like you have to go and interact with somebody.
Yeah.
And I remember honestly, there was times at my old retail job where it's like it's getting close to close. There's a certain window of maybe 30 minutes. That's fine. 15 minutes. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But if you walk in the store with 5 minutes till close, I'll be real quick. There's never anything quick.
No.
Anybody showing up that late in the day is never that quick. So it's like, oh my gosh, no, get out of here. So I kind of get it in a sense, but for the most part, just check them out.
Yeah.
Just scan the items.
The worst experience I've ever had like that, I was working at Crave downtown. And usually 10 minutes before we closed, there were these big gates that we would kind of halfway close to let people know hey, we're about to lock up for the night. And if we closed at midnight, it was 11:59 and somebody just comes running down the hall and they stand in, they look at their phone. It's 11:59. They go, "We made it." Table for two. It's like, absolutely not, sir.
We made it.
I've seen a new prank going around the internet where this guy, he gets 50 people. And there was one where I can't remember the name of the first store because it's not something like local in Minnesota, but he went to a Five Guys for the second location and he waits and it's like they close at 10 o'clock. He will stand outside until 9:59 and he walks and he goes, "Sir, are you still open?" You can see the guy behind the counter like, yep. And he goes, perfect. Come on in, everyone.
Oh, God.
And then people are marching, 50 people. We want food and we want it now.
And if you own the place, of course, you serve these people.
Oh, yeah. And then I think the first place he went to was like a kind of a mom and pop. And the lady, she just looked so worn out from the day. And she's like, I don't know if I can do 50 cheeseburgers right now, guys. We close in a minute.
50
and
cheeseburgers.
The Five Guys employee was like, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. And so they got it to go, and it was in and out.
Oh, he actually orders the food? This guy's an ass.
The first one they left. The first one they left when she's like, the second one, the guy was like, yeah, we can do it. You know, you could hear the resent in his voice, but they're like, perfect. So they got 50 cheeseburgers and left.
I don't know who he is, but I hate this guy.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, I don't know if I like this guy very much.
One thing I will tell you, because my mother was a diner waitress her whole life.
Yeah.
I learned very quickly, but just sitting in the booth watching, that I would never be good at that job. There's no way I could do that. People are such a-holes. It's unbelievable.
Have you ever worked in the food industry at all?
Well, I was a busboy. This is going to mean nothing to you guys. The garden room at Donaldson's, which used to be on the corner of Nicollet and 7th Street. Dayton's was on one. That Dayton's building is still there.
Okay.
But the Donaldson's one is now a parking ramp, I think, or something like that. But I worked at Dayton's and Donaldson's. I worked as a stock boy at Dayton's. And then at Donaldson's, I worked as a bus boy. And that guy that used to, well, you guys might be too young to know him. His name was John. They called him John the something. But he had some, let's say, mental disabilities.
Okay.
When he walked down the street, he would do this the entire time. Washington apples are the best goddamn apples in the world. And he would kind of march. He wouldn't walk. He would march. And he always did it back and forth in front of the Star Tribune building. Okay. Which used to be on like 5th Street or something like that, or 5th Avenue, or I don't even remember where the hell it was. But he used to come in there to the garden room at Donaldson's, which was a department store just like Dayton's. He would come in there and he would order his food. When they delivered his food, he would stand up, drop to his knees, and start praying very loudly. Thank you, God, for this meal. I'm so grateful. I mean, and people are like, oh, hey, it's John, whatever.
Right. He doesn't hurt anybody.
I'm not hurting anybody. It's John. What the hell is it? I'm sure John's been dead for a long time now, but that was one of the great experiences of my life, just being around John when he would yell at the top of his lungs, not realizing he was doing it actually.
Yeah. Just super happy about Washington apples and whatever he was getting for lunch that day.
Yeah, I had some experiences with those jobs. There's no question about it. A woman came in and ordered Brazil nuts, but did not call them Brazil nuts.
No.
If you know what I mean. And at a very, you don't know what we're talking about.
I don't even know what Brazil nuts are.
Okay, well, good. We're going to leave it there on this show. We'll tell you during the break, because what she said, I was like, and I'm stocking at the time. I wasn't the cashier. I'm stocking up. And she says, I'd like a pound of, and then she said these words that you don't want to say in public ever, or you don't want to say them at all. I don't care if you're home alone.
Okay.
But I looked up and like, did you actually just say what I thought you said? Like, okay. So how'd you find out about that? Who gave you the inside on that one?
I think you've told this Brazil nut story before.
Oh, that's where you heard it.
I believe it was from you. Yeah.
Oh my God. I still can't. I'll have to go to break it out. Matter of fact, he can't be in the room when I tell you what the woman said. So that kind of leads you down a path.
Oh no. Okay.
Unbelievable. The world was different in the 1960s and 70s. I will tell you that. And I don't mean for the better. We've come quite a long ways. Let me just put it that way. Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yes.
Right.
I'm nervous to hear what she actually said.
Oh God.
I don't know if I want to anymore.
Actually, Tevin's going to have to be in the men's room when I tell you what she said, because it was
going home early today.
Yeah, he's going home early today. You know, there are people in their cars right now listening to this going, I know what he said.
I'll tell you what, we'll just leave it as is, and we can leave it as a cliffhanger. No worries.
Okay, good. It's a wonderful cliffhanger.
I don't even need to know the answer now.
No, you do not. I would agree with you 100%. You don't need to know the answer.
We'll truck along.
All right, we'll take a break. Be right back. Judd is going to be with us in a couple of minutes. Hi, Tom Barnard for Livia Weight Control Centers. Your success story starts today. Join Livia's doctor-recommended and award-winning nutrition program. Get your first 8 weeks free. Let me say that again. Get your first 8 weeks free. You could lose up to 20 pounds or more in your first 8 weeks. Plus, Livia offers weight loss medications to accelerate results. Receive personalized one-on-one guidance, plus expert nutrition and medical support. Livia is the destination for all weight loss solutions. Trust me when I say this. Livia works. Now, here's the deal. I told you we've been... I got to tell you guys something else, and I'm telling you just because so it can, it took us 7 weeks to move from our last house into this. 7 weeks it took, right? Because we had to downsize so much. A lot of it was just, let me put it this way. Goodwill probably made $1 million off the stuff that we gave them because we didn't have room for it in the new place.
But think about your tax write-off.
Well, I suppose, yeah. Well, people do jack that through the roof, by the way. We're not going to do that, obviously, but people, yes, I gave him a blanket that was worth $5,000. Like, yeah, sure you did. But in any case, so we found out there's another place in the building that has a water view. So guess who's moving again in 3 months? That would be me. So the fact that this worked and it kept my weight level. I didn't lose any more weight, but what I tried to do is just keep it level. I said, if I can hold off, matter of fact, I'm going to go see the people at Livia on Thursday. Looking forward to that. And I will be the weight that I was the last time I saw them, which is about probably a month ago now, somewhere in there. But the program works. I mean, that's the best way to put it. The stress of moving, you're tired all the time. There's no question about that. And, it works. It kept my weight right where I wanted to. Now, I'm assuming if I had wanted to say, work my ass off and then try to lose weight too, it probably wouldn't have been a good idea. So that's why I just wanted to keep it stable. Now we're past that, and I'll get down to my goal weight of 214. It's going to be great. I don't have far to go. Visit Livia.com. That's LIVEA.com, or call 855-GO-LIVIA. Join Livia's nutrition plan today and get your first 8 weeks free. Plus, Livia Medical offers GLP-1 medications for accelerated results. Visit Livia.com or call 855-GO-LIVIA. Choose the trusted leader serving our communities for 15 years because Livia works.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they taught you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
When you go to a restaurant, matter of fact, I just went to a restaurant with Josh Arnold and his lovely girlfriend. Can you still say girlfriend, or is it just my better half? Is that better to say?
Girlfriend's acceptable, but I think better half maybe makes them feel a little bit more special.
Probably true. When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert. I said he's my expert. And he should be yours too, actually. I talk to Josh every week. I talk to Josh several times a week, as a matter of fact. And he understands the market, the economy. He knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. Of course, Josh is going to be on the show today. He is every Tuesday. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard, your boy here, is a paid endorser.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
You horn tootin'. Can I say horn tootin'? Does that work?
I think so.
Yep.
I can say it's not filthy or anything like that.
No,
We're
I
talking
don't.
about the trumpet.
I don't think you're talking about anybody's horn
Saxophone.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, they're horn tootin'. Okay, never mind. SKOR North's Judd Zulgad is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. So, Judd, I have not been keeping my finger on the sports pulse lately because after the Twins couldn't win just one more game against Cleveland, win one of the last two, and they'd be 1.5 games out. No, we can't do that. But they did beat Kansas City yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, 8-3. They fell behind 2-0 early on, and then in the bottom of the second, they scored 6 runs. So yes, they came back and won that game. Now what's weird is they've been very good against Kansas City, which is a good team now.
Mm-hmm.
They're 6-2 against them this year. They've struggled mightily against Cleveland. They did win the first 2 against Cleveland, but I think now they're 2-7 against Cleveland. So it's been odd. That's the good news last night. The bad news is that Byron Buxton left with some type of hip tightness.
What a shock.
And sounds like he got done with his at-bat, walked down the tunnel, and that was it. I mean, he ordinarily fights coming out, and it sounds like he pulled himself. So I don't know. This doesn't sound good. They're already down, Carlos Correa, Brooks Lee, and now if it's Buxton as well, it just gets more and more difficult.
Is he such an aggressive player? Is that why he keeps getting hurt?
I don't know.
I've
tried to figure it out. I used to think it was slamming into walls, which he did again and missed 3 games last week. But it's just, I don't know, man. There's so many things. Now it's a hip. It's been the knee, the chronically bad knee that he got finally, it sounds like, fixed. I don't know. I'd love to say it's one thing because I don't think it's a lack of toughness at all. I think he's tough. I mean, do some people just have bodies that are more prone to problems? Like I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he does go after it. There's no question about it. He's a pretty damn aggressive player. But look, I suffer injuries all the time because I come in here and get my feelings hurt. So I have to go on the disabled list,
It's the injured list, Tom. That's
politically
correct.
Right. That's right.
Disabled is no longer politically correct.
Forgot all about that.
Oh my gosh. Did I hear you say you're moving again?
Yep. We're going to move again at the end of October.
Where are you going now?
We're going to be in the same building, but apparently there's a water view out of this place. So we're going to move to that unit.
Okay.
Same building.
So you're going upstairs basically.
What we're doing is, I think it's the move is like 60 steps. So it's about 180 feet from where we live now. It's on the same floor and everything.
So who did Catherine meet that invited her into their house to see the water view?
The manager.
Okay.
You ever dealt with that's one thing I just love about, the way men treat women. Never been around Catherine to me, have you? Because Catherine says what Catherine gets is what Catherine gets, and that's just how it is. Let me give you an example. I didn't have my glasses on the other day. My vision's pretty good, but it's not great. And the picture was probably, 20 feet away from me. So I look at it. It's one of those, we have one of those scrolling pads where all the grandkids pictures pop up and they just go from picture to picture to picture, one of those deals. Mm-hmm. I looked over and I'm going, good God, that's a very pretty woman over there. Then I realized it was her. It's like, whoops. I'm staring at pretty women, honey, but only if it's you, my dear. Only if it's you.
That's a win-win right there.
Oh, there's no question. Hey, look, I'm not a fool. I understand that if I ever hit a grand slam, that was my grand slam. And the kids and the grandkids, all of that stuff. I love having a family. And again, I suppose it's because my family, my old man was gone and, a lot of turmoil. There are a couple of people in my family I have not talked to in 25 years.
Wow.
Because they just don't want to, they don't want to remember the childhood stuff, Yeah. That does happen. Whatever. But so, yeah, Catherine, I thank God I didn't maybe get a skewed view and go, who the hell's that woman? Thank God it was a compliment.
Can you now put a moratorium though on moves?
I'm done with the moves. Yeah, this next move when be the first week in November, I guess, is that's when it's going to be. Of course, that's right when my birthday is. So we'll probably move on my birthday. I wouldn't doubt that'd be really great. But no, it's a great building. I love living where we live now. The people could not have been nicer. There's a boardwalk that you can go down, and I'm walking along the boardwalk, and this really great couple, the husband and wife and husband, however the hell you want to say it. They stopped and asked if they could take a picture. I have met 21 people in the last 3 days that listen to these shows and love the shows. They want to take a picture always and all the rest of it. So, I mean, that makes me feel really good. They're very, very nice people. But yeah, my neighborhood, it's really, really friendly people. Matter of fact, I met the former mayor last week, and I asked him to come on the family show with us. I think he's going to pop on sometime in the next couple of weeks. Everybody's just very, very pleasant. Well, Glenn Mason is one of the people, sits across from where I live and has a cup of coffee every morning.
Mace does, yeah. He's done well for himself.
Yeah, Mace is a great guy. Do you know him really well?
I don't, but you know what? I've always said this. I have always thought that Mace went, and I think they're friends, so it makes perfect sense. That Mace was taken to school on how to live here long term by Louis Nanny.
No question about it.
Because if you remember, now Louis was always popular, and like he never had problems with the press and stuff.
No.
But when Mace was a coach here, he was bristly.
Bristly
football coach, and I don't know that he was. I mean, I wouldn't classify him as well liked by the community. But then Mace stayed here, and he's become sort of, he does a regular hit on a popular AM drive or FM drive show. He's become very popular. I've always thought, I think Louis got to him and gave him the playbook on how to live here long term and sort of craft your image into being a embraced member of the community.
No question about it. As a matter of fact, it's interesting you bring that up, because where we go in Florida, a couple of our neighbors are Louis Nanny and Glenn Mason.
Yes.
So the three of us kind of float around here, and then we float around there. And now the Nanny family, well, Tino Lettieri, his Michelle Nanny's husband, and I are great friends. He's just a wonderful guy. The whole family, very, very nice people. And Mace, I saw Mace last week, just a great guy. Yeah, and he was bristly, though. You're right.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was not considered a great guy in his coaching days, which to be clear, again, Louis, I don't think was ever not a popular, he was always Louis.
Yep, he was always Louis. There's no question about it. He has some stories. Back in the day when I used to have a cocktail or two, the three of us would sit around at a house party, whatever, and talk about all this stuff. And it was like, I learned a lot from both of those guys of how to act in public and all the rest of it.
Louis is unbelievable.
You can't be a total ass kisser like some people are.
Right.
That's not going to work for me. That's not, I don't have that in my DNA, but yeah, I've been very, very lucky to become really good friends with Louis Nanny and Glenn Mason. They're terrific guys, both of them.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And both, went into business endeavors post their sports careers, and I think both did great.
They did indeed.
I know Louis did great.
Louis does.
Louis did great. I know that for sure.
He did just fine, but the one missing piece of that, unfortunately, there was, like I said, I mentioned Tino Lettieri and a number of people, and the Nanny family, all the rest of it. But we lost Vince Flynn, who was part of that group as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, Vince Flynn would come into it, and then. I think there's a news guy over at Channel 4. He's like some Italian guy, Frank something, Vasilino, something like that. No, but we used to get together almost every weekend, at least a couple of weekends a month, and have house parties at my house or Louie's house or wherever. It was a great thing to go through,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't know Vince at all, but I know he was incredibly popular, and he was good friends with you and Such, right? And a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Souchere. As a matter of fact, the first show he ever went on was Joe Souchere's show.
Okay.
All those years ago. And that's why I love Souchere, too, because there was I wish I had the recording. He went after me about 40 years ago on the air. God, it was. And then he and I become really good friends. I love that. That crazy son of a. He went after me big time. And I think he enjoyed the fact that it didn't piss me off and it didn't offend me at all. It's like, I understand why you do that. Yeah. I've done it before myself.
It's good radio.
It is good radio.
Or now podcasting.
And now podcasting, ladies and gentlemen. So we've done a good job avoiding talking about sports because,
Well, I mean, Twins did win, but
yes,
you're correct. When you win the first two games in the doubleheader against Cleveland on Friday, you would expect to win 3 of 4, and that was all that we were asking. No one was asking for a 4-game sweep. So the Vikings had their annual once-a-year night practice last night, and it's not like a game; it's just a practice. In fact, it was in shorts because they're going to go to Cleveland and have a couple of joint practices on Wednesday and Thursday. But the bad news was JJ McCarthy came in and was complaining about knee soreness, and so he's being evaluated and held out. They tried to downplay it, but when you're a 21-year-old kid with routine knee soreness, and then they decide you can't practice, and then when Kevin O'Connell, the coach, was asked, "Is he going to travel to Cleveland?" and they're like, "That's to be determined." That's not like it. It's worth being concerned until he gets on the plane, because as Tevin can tell you in football, a lot of times when your knee acts up, it can mean it's not devastating, but it can certainly mean something needs to be cleaned up. We just don't know yet.
Yeah. Well, that's not good news. I'm not real happy to hear that because everybody told me he got intercepted and all the rest of it. But I guess he looked good in the game.
Looked really good. He looked very good. And again, it's nothing that I think is going to impact his career one bit, but the momentum was there. Hopefully it is nothing. I just don't know that there's such a thing as routine knee soreness with a 21-year-old kid.
No. Yeah, that's 21 years old with knee
soreness. We have it. Tom Barnard, Judd Zulgad, routine knee soreness. Yeah, okay. I buy that.
I've never had knee soreness.
From all the moving you didn't?
A couple of hernias and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, weightlifters, like power lifters, they always get hernias. Matter of fact, like I said, I had a double hernia one time. I didn't even know it.
Really?
Not some sugar tit. I mean, a little, little
sugar tit might be offensive, Tom. I've noticed that you're trying to watch your words very carefully. The ruling on sugar tit, I'm not sure about.
Sugar tit all the way.
I like sugar tit, but I'm not sure. I mean, I might be offended. I think age is definitely offended because he's young.
Yeah, that's true. Probably.
He gets offended by everything because he's young.
I would say even triggered.
You're triggered. Yes, he's triggered now, ladies and gentlemen. But you know where that's from is there was a movie that came out. It was just called Joe. It's basically about a kind of a far right working man who meets another guy in a bar, and the second guy, starts talking about politics. This and that. Listen, these are my beliefs, and I hope everybody understands that my beliefs are very, very strong, and I don't want to hear the other side. And who was the dad on? The guy who played Joe in the movies, named Peter
Boyle.
Peter Boyle, absolutely.
Oh, I love Peter Boyle.
Phenomenal. So this other guy's bitching and pissing and moaning about the politics and this and that and the other thing, and all of a sudden Peter Boyle, as Joe, goes, "Yeah, sugar tit all the way."
I didn't know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Peter Boyle's fantastic.
If you get a chance, watch that movie because that movie's got to be 50 years old now, probably, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it came out in 1970.
Okay.
Oh my God, so it's 54 years old. Holy Hannah. Yeah, you were born the year that sugar tit all the way at your birth, by the way. I heard
you're right. You're exactly right. You started
crying and everything, you sugar tit all the way.
But Peter Boyle was great. So he's well known. His last great role, of course, was as the dad in Everybody Loves Raymond. But what I didn't realize is he was actually John Lennon's best man at the wedding to Yoko. Never would have in a million years thought Peter Boyle and Lennon.
I know.
How are those two such great friends? Where's the crossover?
I don't know. They met somewhere.
California, probably. Yeah, Who knows? I don't know. But I mean, the funny thing is you look at Peter Boyle in his last years and you're like, okay, great actor, but old man. And then it's like, in the 60s, this guy was cool.
Hey, AJ, could you see if you could find that audio of Peter Boyle saying that in the movie Joe?
Yeah, I'll do my best.
I mean, I don't know if you can even find it, but if you can, it's just the way he delivers that line. I mean, you guys should definitely watch the movie because it's got a lot of age on it now, but it was really, really good.
Yeah, well, it looks like it holds up. I mean, it's still 82% on Rotten Tomatoes.
There you
it
go.
Was made with produced with $100,000 or on a budget of $100,000, but it grossed $19.3 million in the U.S. and Canada. So,
in 1970.
Yeah, 1970, the 13th highest grossing film of 1970. So.
God, ooh. It just what a wonder, and just the way he talks in that movie, because he plays the part of this, insensitive construction worker kind of guy,
right?
That kind of deal, and he just nails it.
Right.
It made his career. I mean, you have to remember in 1967, 68, 69, America was on fire.
Yep.
Plymouth Avenue burned in 67, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. So that movie coming out with a guy on the far right talking like that, I was like, holy Christ. I mean, my brother was in Memphis in the United States Marine Corps trying to put that city out. They called in the United States Marines. It was so bad.
Oh, I believe that.
Like, holy God.
Yeah. But I mean, you consider what they went through in Memphis. Yeah.
Oh God, yes. It was a tough row to hoe.
Interesting.
You having any luck at all?
No, there's no videos. There's just like I'm finding like some quotes from the movie, but
ooh, you got one?
A lot of them I can't say.
Is there an F-bomb or two in there?
Don't trigger them, Tom.
No, there's a couple of much harsher words.
Oh, you mean like?
Say. But I know the one that you love a lot, that you say a lot, is colder than a witch's tit.
Colder than a witch's tit came from that movie. That's exactly right.
And then I don't know if this is a big scene in the movie or not, but he's at a urinal and he goes, "Hey, they got ice down there. I've never pissed on ice before."
Yes.
I don't know. Is that a pivotal point in the movie? I'm not sure.
The whole movie, all he does is say stuff like that. The entire movie. Okay. It's just phenomenal. Yeah, it's right. What actually colder than a witch's tit came from J.D. Salinger's book. That's where he got that. Remember the kids he's on a fencing team or something. He's on a fencing team, and and he says something about how did that work out? It was colder than a witch's tit. So that was J.D. Salinger came up.
How do you come up with that line?
I don't know.
Right. Like if you're Salinger, how do you come up with that line? You must have heard it yourself, but like who first put that together? Because what's so funny is it makes sense.
Old witch's tit would be cold, I would think.
Yeah, but like who originally thought, you know what, this is going to be a good line?
Why don't we do this? Because, it's about 50-50. So, and you guys know the people over at Hubbard better than I do. Is there somebody that approaches being a witch on the staff over there in the main building? You don't have to tell me the name.
I would not even begin to. No.
No, I haven't seen anybody park a broom in the parking lot yet.
So. Not yet. Not happening?
No.
One thing, speaking of parking stuff over at Hubbard, that helicopter used to take off from the top of the building. Did you guys know that?
Yeah. Didn't you ride on it? And because you were saying the driver of the pilot of the helicopter was like a World War II veteran that would like weave in and out of buildings and stuff.
Vietnam vet. Yep.
Oh my God.
Honest God, you would be like, okay, we're on the building. Okay, we got to go. Choom. It's like, holy Christ.
You rode in it, huh?
Oh, long, like 1973, something like that.
Couldn't pay me to ride.
Oh,
a helicopter could not pay me to.
And the guy's like, he scared you, didn't it? Like, shut up, you pill. I've never liked you. I want you to know.
Did it have doors, or was it one of those ones?
No, it had doors.
Open? Yeah. Okay,
because it had doors.
The ones that are just open, you're not going to catch me on that helicopter. There are not enough seatbelts in the world.
Not enough. You got just one more quote before Judd has to go.
No, the other ones on that list I was unable to say.
There might be an F-bomb or two in there.
No.
I think I know what word you're talking about.
I am not able
70s.
to.
Well, we had already talked about that at one point this morning, but we're going to. Okay, there's going to be the tiebreaker because you don't know what I'm talking about. Tevin does know what I'm talking about. Judd, do you know what a Brazil nut is?
I do not.
Okay, good. So that means that we don't even have to go forward with that, Tevin, which I'm sure you're happy about.
100%.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that. But apparently, if you're going to watch the movie Joe, you better
brace myself.
You better fortify and brace. That's exactly right.
Damn Peter Boyle.
Damn Peter Boyle.
Oh,
God, a brilliant report as always, man. Chris Eggert's not on today, so
where's Egger?
Family
emergency. Deal.
Oh, okay. I hope things are well then. Here, I was going to give him grief.
I love working with that guy.
I hope things are well. I was going to give him grief, but if something's wrong, now I feel bad. I feel empathetic. So
we're hoping that it's not wrong, but it's an emergency situation.
Okay, well, I hope all.
I love that he is a wonderful guy.
Yeah, and he's a great guy, and he's damn good on TV as well.
Oh, he's very good. First time I ever
Newquist are fantastic. She is. Yeah. I don't know if she's come on or not. She is funny.
Oh, really?
Great. Oh, yeah, she's great.
Hubbard doesn't do a lot of that cross promotion stuff, which I've never understood. Makes no sense to me.
I think the company's fantastic, Tom. I don't know what you're talking about.
Candy
cross promotion. Yeah.
Oh, jeez, you sugar tit all.
You know what? I was a sugar tit.
Once said
I was a sugar tit right there. This sugar tit will talk to you tomorrow.
All right, Judd. Thanks, pal.
Bye.
Bye. SKOR North. I love working with that guy. He and Phil are terrific. There's no doubt about it. Actually, to tell you the truth, Hubbard did a wonderful job getting these people on the show. And I mean, not you two guys, but everybody else.
Yeah, well, that was the counterweight. Like, you get all these great people, but Tevin and I are also here. So,
indeed, there's a balance to the universe. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely.
SKOR North's Judd Zulgad is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation to 952-925-5608. But yeah, look, you guys know me listening to the show today that I'm not a kiss ass or I pretend to like somebody I don't like. If I don't like you, you're going to know I don't like you. It's not that I'm going to attack you, but I'm going to avoid you. That's probably the best. The first sign is if I'm avoiding you, it means I don't really care for you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go on and talk about what great people Phil and Judd are and Chris Eggert is and all the rest of it, I sincerely mean that. They're really good guys. Don't you think?
It's better. It's better to say the nice things behind someone's back than have it the other way around, where you're nice to their face and then mean behind their back.
I hate that so much.
Yeah, that's how you know you like them.
You are correct, sir. We shall take a break and be right back. Chris would normally be on, but hopefully everything is going well in his world. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. Beer, food, Vikings, and real life jousting. That only place you can find all of these together is the 2024 Minnesota Renaissance Festival, happening weekend starting August 17th. In other words, this just 4 days away. This Saturday, correct? Through September 29th, plus Labor Day and September 27th, located at the Renaissance Festival grounds in Shakopee. It's fun for the entire family. Matter of fact, my whole family, all 9 of us are going, as a matter of fact, together, which I can't wait to see the little kids reacting to, because you got some people in costumes and the whole deal. So they're going to love that. We went out there last week. As a matter of fact, I went out there with Crisco and Dez, as a matter of fact, and it was a great time. In any case, located at the Renaissance Festival grounds in Shakopee, it's fun for the entire family. And I do mean that, as you adventure around the grounds, finding amazing food and drink, tons of different street acts, live music, and full armored jousting. Yes, I said full armored jousting. Interesting. There's always something exciting going on. Like to live on the edge? Try your hand at axe throwing, shooting a crossbow, climbing a rock wall, or test your wits in an escape room. It's also perfect for kids of all ages, featuring a petting zoo, various rides and games, along with arts and crafts events. Plus, with over 250 artisans in shops around the festival, you may just find something that scratches your medieval itch. Visit RenaissanceFest.com now for discount tickets, parking passes, and all other information. The 2024 Minnesota Renaissance Festival. Visit RenaissanceFest.com today.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain, and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Alley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Mike Lindell, MyPillow employees, want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. To thank you, they're having an overstock clearance and new product sale right now for the best prices ever when you use promo code TOM. You get free shipping on your entire order. Get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets, only $29.98, and take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything's on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb, dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM, and you get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-516-5146 or go to mypillow.com and use promo code TOM.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
You're damn right it is, ladies and gentlemen. I've been waiting to get this stuff up and ready to go for about 45 minutes, 42 minutes now. It's that's a better way to put it, I guess. Actors who are nightmares to work with, according to on-set workers. Okay, I haven't clicked on it yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can we get 3 different guesses of who the worst nightmare to work with would be?
Ooh, I don't know, but my favorite nightmare celebrity story is from Brad Williams, comedian, little person. Mm-hmm. He did some promo thing with Ariana Grande where he had to be handcuffed to her for like 24 hours or something for some shoot, movie, video, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and he said that she was like the most rude person. Like, I need room temperature Dasani water with all red M&Ms and blah, one of those. So yeah, one of those. So if she's on the list, I won't be surprised.
It's funny you bring that up, because when I was at Capitol Records, of course, I would travel with all the big acts and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably won't say who it is, because most of the guys in the band were nice, but there was one guy in the band who was a total asshole. And he calls me, he goes, "Tom, I got a problem." I said, "Yeah, what's the problem?" He said, "I told the people at this hotel what I needed in the room, and they didn't do it." I said, "Well, yeah, so what's the problem?" He goes, "Well, I don't know. Why don't you come over and I'll show you?" I said, "Okay." So I came over to the hotel. It was here in Minneapolis. And I walk in, and there's a gigantic bowl of M&Ms. And I said, "Okay, now what's this major problem you got?" He goes, "Look at that." I said, "Yeah, it's a bowl of M&Ms. He goes, "I told them no red ones." Really? Like, you think the red ones taste different than the other ones, do you?
He also thinks the blue Fruit Loops taste different from the yellow ones.
Although I could understand if he was like Red Dye 40 is in, like, if there was Red Dye 40 in the Skittles or M&Ms, right, maybe that would be the only way I would be like, okay, fine, but just don't eat them.
He's just asserting his power was all he was doing. He's just being a pain in the ass. Yeah. Maybe I will tell you later on who it was. But anyway, because a very well-known person, actually. So, okay, you would say Ariana Grande.
Yeah, just because why not?
Okay.
My guess, because I've read some stories about how she has like gotten married, but then immediately divorced or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then just kind of like, there's a lot that she can get a little wild on set. It sounds like Charlize Theron. Theron. I don't know how to say it correctly.
I think it's just Theron. I think. Theron? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with her. She seems like an actress that not maybe stuck up, but like likes things a particular way.
Yeah. Or I bet The Rock is on this list, because I remember Kristyn Burtt was telling us
that's who I was going to go with. Good call.
That's so much better than my.
Yeah, The Rock is a massive pain in the ass, I guess.
It's just so sad.
I've never met him because he seems like such a nice guy in the interviews, right?
And because he call like a high schooler in Stillwater like 8 years ago or something like that didn't have a prom date, and she wrote him a letter like, "Hey, will you go to prom with me?" And he didn't go to prom, but he called the school and like over the loudspeakers was like, "Oh, hey, Stacy, I can't make it to the prom. I'm shooting some movie, but you know, he paid for her dress or blah, 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 or something like that."
If you smell
what the rock is.
So he actually was nice to her though.
Yeah. And so that was like, I was like, oh, he must be a fantastic human being.
Yeah.
And then Kristyn Burtt just was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, he's okay. So we got Ariana Grande.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We got, who is it again?
Skip over mine. It's a bad
But
guess.
Tom, yours is
No,
definitely.
we're
gonna be on
not
the
going to
list.
skip over yours.
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron. Yeah, she is a pain in the ass, by the way. I know that.
Okay.
And The Rock. So we got the three. Okay, I'm going to click on the story now, ladies and gentlemen. Actors who are nightmares to work with, according to on-set workers. Oh, there's an actual whole list of them, 10 deep. I've heard. I just saw the first one, and I've heard this guy's a raging prick. Steven Seagal. These people were asked to make a comment about, why Steven Seagal. They would say that Steven Seagal is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Seagal is a pain in the ass because he's a grade A douchebag. That's a pretty good call. Oh, James Corden. I heard that James Corden is a flaming asshole.
Mm-hmm.
He won't talk to anyone except the most senior crew. He thinks he's above everyone. You could tell that on his show, couldn't you?
Yeah.
How arrogant he was.
He always came off as kind of like better. He felt better than just, if you're just a camera guy.
Yeah.
You're even though you're supposed to be working as a team and you're a unit, you're working on his show, trying to make it the best it can be. If you're just the craft services person, you might as well be the dirt on the bottom of his shoe.
So far, they got it nailed because I have heard both of these guys are a massive pain in the ass. This one I don't know about. Tyra Banks, she's number 8. Says here, legitimately will fire some people if they look her in the eye when passing in the hallway. Yeah, okay, that explains it for me. I get fired because I looked at you?
Maybe I just don't. Maybe I'm not familiar with her work enough, but I remember her being, she was a model. And then she had a show.
Yep.
And then the one movie that sticks out in my mind is when a girl's like Barbie doll turns into a real person. Life size. Thank you. That's the only movie that I can think of that Tyra Banks was in. And maybe I just don't know her other work.
No, she was in or like the America's Next Top Model was like the show that she was most famous for and what she's most famous for. And she kind of made a living off of, judging other women by their appearance, which she was maybe a little too good at, we'll say.
Judging other people by their appearance. She was too good at that. Yes. I like that. That works for me. No question about it. So far it's been a home run.
Sounds like it.
Steven Seagal, James Corden, Tyra Banks. Number 7 would be Michael Cera. Well, he doesn't even work anymore, does he?
Michael
Cera. I thought he was super nice.
Yeah, he seems very chill. Super bad. I mean, super bad makes him seem like the most relaxed, funny guy of all time. Yeah. Maybe he's super wound up. I don't know. Okay,
well, let me just read the description of Michael Cera.
Okay.
Huge effing a-hole. Somebody doesn't like him, I guess. Number 6 would be Chris Pine.
I don't even know who Chris Pine is.
Chris Pine is he was in that new Dungeons and Dragons movie like a year or two back.
Oh, I know who Chris Pine is.
He was in Into the Woods. He was like one of the princes or whatever. He's I think he's done some like shows too, like HBO shows.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's a decent actor.
He's a good actor.
I enjoy his work, but what's the like the quote about him? What's the real world experience?
Massive douchebag.
Okay.
He's a massive douchebag. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. You get to the top 5 and the first one, number 5, not a shock at all. Russell Crowe. I have heard he's really hard to work with from a lot of different actors. Super arrogant and self-important. He kind of portrays that in his characters, doesn't he?
Well, you know what? If for Gladiator 1, that's fine with me. And if he ever wants to sit down with Ryan Gosling and make The Nice Guys 2, I think one of the most underrated movies of all time, just to make a sequel of that, I will ask kindly that the crew and staff put up with his rude behavior to film that movie.
All right. Well, see, now that's fair. There's no question about it. We now move on to number 4. Now, these next 4 I cannot see in advance because I scroll down.
Okay.
I'll scroll up one at a time. Number 4 would be, ladies and gentlemen, Oh, not a surprise. Oh, there are two of them on this. Number 4 is there are two of them.
It's a tie.
Yes, it's a tie, apparently. Ben Stiller. Oh, God. I know personally because I talked to him one time. What a prick. Oh, God. John Cusack does kind of surprise me, though, that there said very entitled, exactly what you would expect from them. So, yes, Ben Stiller is exactly what you expect. He's an arrogant prick. You have to remember his parents were very wealthy comedians. So he only got work because his mother and father were famous.
Mm-hmm.
Their act was called Stiller and Mara. Stiller is his father, and what the hell was her name?
Yeah, Jerry Stiller, I want to say.
Jerry Stiller, I think it was, and then
I couldn't tell you who his mom is, though.
Mara is her last. I can't remember her name.
Ann Mara.
Ann Mara, there you go. That's exactly. It used to be, on national TV, like Johnny Carson. They'd be on there all the time. So those two don't surprise me at all that they'd both be arrogant assholes. Number 3 would be Scarlett Johansson. Married to your boy, though. See, I always thought because she married somebody like him that she would be pretty even keel, right? I mean, didn't she marry the guy from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, Colin Jost.
Colin Jost, yeah. Who's a nice guy, by the way. He's been in studio over at the Q.
I didn't know you've met him before.
Yeah, he came in the studio a couple of times. Very nice guy.
Okay.
So I don't know. Scarlett Johansson. Although I will tell you what, she's very, very pretty and kind of keeps to herself. So you might get the idea that she is very high maintenance, demanding things left and right. If she's demanding, that's different. If you start demanding things, that's a problem.
Yeah, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that it's just a bunch of guys that have gone up and shamelessly tried to hit on her.
Yeah.
She's like,
beautiful.
I have to keep to myself.
Yeah, that's the thing about this is the personal experience. The quote could be like some, crane operator was like, I'm going to shoot my shot with Scarlett Johansson. And she was like, no. And he took it way too hard. It's like, that effing loser. I can't. She doesn't know what she's missing out on. She's terrible to work with. No, Rodney, relax.
Roy Rodney. That should be one guy's name, Roy Rodney.
Yeah.
Number 2 would be Dr. Phil. Does that surprise you?
No, not even a doctor.
No, he's not a doctor.
Let's clear the air there, Phil. You're not a doctor.
Just regular Phil from now on.
Yeah,
Do you know this? I had no idea this was true. When you're on his show, you cannot look him in the eye. He has a no eye contact rule. One of the nastiest, most self-absorbed people I've ever met. He kind of comes across that way on the show, doesn't he?
Yeah, and what is it with all these people in no eye contact? Like, I feel like all these famous people, you hear stories about you can't look them in the eye. Like, one person did it, and now just everybody rolls with it. I'm looking you all in the eye.
Yeah.
I agree.
You're not this like holy being. You're just a person. You're just a person. I don't understand. Like, who cares? Do they think that they are like so above everyone else that they're not worthy of making eye contact with you? That's crazy.
All right. Why don't we take a break here? See, This is what arrogant radio and podcasting people do. They make you sit through a break to hear who number 1 is on the biggest prick in Hollywood, or in the world, I guess it is, not just Hollywood.
Yeah. Don't sell them short.
We'll be back in a couple of minutes with that person. I'm here talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, it seems like banking has changed quite a bit since you first opened your doors in 1998.
Yes and no. In 98, we didn't have online and mobile banking like we do today. Many banking processes have also changed. One thing that hasn't changed is we still provide a true community bank experience right here in the Twin Cities.
Our team takes the time to get to know our customers and their goals. This creates a relationship that is unique in banking today and one our customers appreciate. It's why we like to say we provide a better banking experience.
You're absolutely right, Brad. I've been a customer for a long time. The service your team provides is phenomenal.
Thanks, Tommy.
So why not bank with my banker, North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. if you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market and the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
You damn right. Ladies and gentlemen, okay. So far, none of our three picks has been mentioned. And our three picks again are who?
Ariana Grande, some with a C that AJ said, which we're just discounting, and then The Rock, which
we're just discounting.
Yeah, I think yours has the best chance.
You think number one might be The Rock?
Yep.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. Why is he calling him already? I'm not going to put him on the air for another 8 minutes. You don't have to call him yet.
No, he's usually on at 9, right?
No, he's on at about 9:03 usually. But I'm going to put him on at 9:05 today. What do you think of that action?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're having phone issues here. It's not working. So we might have to have Josh either call us or we'll figure it out later.
This is a very, very important situation.
I know, but I want to hear number one.
Okay, number one is, I have not scrolled up yet. Number one, the biggest prick in what, the world or just Hollywood?
We're going with the world.
With the world. Okay, you're going with the world. Blake Lively. That surprises me. The Rock didn't even make the top 10 list.
I'm surprised The Rock didn't, but I think our conversation, based on what Kristyn Burtt was saying yesterday at the end of the show, our conversation with her today is going to shed a lot of light on that because she has a new movie out.
Yes.
And apparently there is a lot of drama on set behind the scenes with her and the director and everything. So I think the cliffhanger is that we're going to have to wait a little bit, but Kristyn Burtt's going to fill us in.
I love it. Blake Lively, most entitled, snobbiest, and rudest person to deal with through tantrums constantly. So it's like most women in radio.
So does this mean that Ryan Reynolds might also be a prick? Because they always seem to have like such a cute, flirty, back and forth, regular type person relationship, at least on social media whenever they're out in public. But I'm surprised that she's on this list.
The Rock didn't even make the list. None of our people made the list.
Good for him. Maybe Kristyn Burtt fed us some misinformation.
Yeah, see, typical. That's all I have to say. No question about it. Okay, now let's name the snobbiest, most arrogant radio person you ever worked with.
Oof. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Brittany Arneson. Poor Brittany. I had to throw her under the bus. I love Brittany.
Also, maybe Ryan Reynolds has a type because he was married to 2 people on this list. Scarlett Johansson, 2008 to 2011, and now Blake Lively since 2012. So maybe he's got a type.
It could be. Total a-hole.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yep.
I was trying to think of, in actual reality, the biggest prick I ever worked with in radio. I know who it is, but I won't say who it is. Because I didn't pick the guy out. What an arrogant asshole the man was. Oh, God. You ever been through that? They choose somebody for you to work with, and it's like, how did you ever come up with that idea?
Yeah, it seems like when you're not involved in the selection process, sometimes the fit isn't as good as you would like it to be, and there can be a lot of friction.
Okay, now, so if we ask people to send stuff to us, where would they send it to? Do you guys know?
I think the easiest way is if you go on the app.
Yeah.
And then there should be, I believe it's in the upper right-hand corner, a little like message the show.
Okay, name the 10 This is according to listeners, not people in the business. The 10 biggest podcasting and radio a-holes you've ever met. You think we can get to 10?
Can we stop it at 10 is the question. They just keep sending, people.
But you had to have met them. You can't just think, because once in a while they put on a persona on the radio. So that you had to have had personal contact with them. So they just go to the app. Where do they find the app? Just anywhere?
Yeah, you download it on the App Store. It'll pop up on your screen. And yeah, we can open it to any celebrity encounter that you've had.
I just realized something. In order to name the biggest prick they ever talked about in podcasting or radio, they have to go to my name, the Tom Barnard Show. You did that on purpose. I get
they're like, well, this seems redundant.
Yeah, exactly. This is rather redundant. I don't really understand how we do this, but no, that Blake Lively, not that it's surprising. I don't know enough about her to even have an opinion about her, but I would have thought people like the ones that we chose would be high. They're not even on the list.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that it's not a more well-known thing, especially in today's day and age, where if an actor or an actress has a meltdown on set, you would think it would get talked about a lot more.
Okay, so we're going to come up with a new list of the biggest pricks you've ever met in the investment business. But they have to be Jewish, and their initials have to be J.A.
Yes, and they have to talk about money.
They have to talk about money while they're
Mr. Money Talk.
We shall be right back. Can he hear me in there?
Nope, I don't think he'll be able to send us to break.
Okay, we got to go to break when he comes back, which is right on time. It's not a problem or anything, but apparently Josh must have reached out to him, I wonder if we can even get him on the air.
Yeah, I'm not, unless he can hop on a StreamYard link through his phone.
Josh, get off your ass and get down here. Just walk through the door.
He's probably riding a bike somewhere right now.
I would not doubt that.
He's always exercising. He's going to live forever.
Okay, you want to go to break? No, we'll come back with Josh Arnold.
Oh, we don't even have
yeah, we do. We have a break here.
Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah, let's go to break and
that'll be right on time, 9:05. Perfect. We'll be right back. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. To thank you, they're having an overstock clearance and new product sale right now for the best prices ever. When you use promo code TOM, you get free shipping on your entire order. You get 50% off the MyPillow 2.0. Also get 50% off the brand new flannel sheets that just arrived and won't last long. 6-pack towel sets for only $29.98. And take advantage of the free shipping on larger items such as mattresses and mattress toppers. 100% made in the USA, on sale for as low as $99.99. Everything is on sale, from the brand new kitchen towels that have the same technology as the bath towels that actually absorb dog beds, blankets, couch pillows, and so much more. To get the best specials ever, go to mypillow.com or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM, and you can get free shipping on your entire order. So call 800-516-5146. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code TOM.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Alley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
I'm here talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, it seems like banking has changed quite a bit since you first opened your doors in 1998.
Yes and no. In 98, we didn't have online and mobile banking like we do today. Many banking processes have also changed. One thing that hasn't changed is we still provide a true community bank experience right here in the Twin Cities.
Our team takes the time to get to know our customers and their goals. This creates a relationship that is unique in banking today and one our customers appreciate. It's why we like to say, we provide a better banking experience.
You're absolutely right, Brad. I've been a customer for a long time. The service your team provides is phenomenal.
Thanks, Tommy.
So why not bank with my banker, North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
You are indeed, ladies and gentlemen. The lovely and talented Josh Arnold joins us now. What's happening, Pally?
For all you folks at Starbucks, for all you investors in Starbucks, jump up and down. Starbucks is back to where it was at the beginning of the year, trading up at $94 a share. Huge jump in the share price. But on the other hand, if you are an investor at Chipotle, your stock has gone down. What the heck happened between Starbucks and Chipotle? Why the reversal?
Because nobody can pronounce Chipotle. That's why the stock dropped.
Yes. Nobody can pronounce it. CEO of Chipotle, who had led huge expansion in the company and had seen the stock rise significantly under his leadership, has left. He has got poached by Starbucks management. And that is the big change. Starbucks has been undergoing tremendous pressure since Howard Schultz left for the third time in its history. Howard Schultz has really turned Starbucks from a rinky-dink Seattle coffee shop into an international monster, where you can get the same brew any place in the world. It is just an amazing growth story. Well, I do believe that Howard Schultz got tired of losing money and seeing the stock drop and continue to drop a bunch, and said that's enough. So the old guy is not Howard, but his replacement is out, and the CEO or former CEO of Chipotle is in, and you saw that reversal. That did not lead, however, it did help to a nice boost in NASDAQ, but the biggest boost in NASDAQ was the producer price index number that came in a little bit weaker than expected. You have some inflation numbers coming in this week. Today it's the producer price index. Tomorrow the consumer price index coming in for last month. And with a weaker producer price index, there may be some adjustments to previous numbers. That gives hope that the Fed could possibly consider the probability of starting to cut interest rates in September and not in November or December. And maybe the probable possibilities could still exist that the Fed cuts 3 times this year rather than no times. And I'm still of the belief that the Fed does not cut this year. Would probably start their cuts next year, because they're still going to want to see more data that inflation is under control. The other reason for any cuts by the Fed in interest rates would be the economy weakening. Now, of course, if somebody were to look at Home Depot's numbers this morning, they'd say, things are weakening because Home Depot's stock is down on their earnings report, and particularly their earnings guidance, where they said, things aren't so good. The consumer is still very cautious, etc. I'm thinking, of course the consumer is cautious when it comes to Starbucks or maybe making some other large ticket buys. In the case, not Starbucks, in the case of Home Depot, the consumer might be cautious. Part of the caution at Home Depot or extending to Lowe's would be, we've already fixed our house up 3 years ago or 4 years ago during COVID. Fixing up a house, you're not going, if you fix it up this year, the likelihood of you doing any improvements on that house is pretty small for probably the next 5, 6, or 7 years. Well, Home Depot was part of, as Lowe's is when they report later, they're part of that trend. Additionally, I'm not sure that there is as much need for some of the projects that people have been doing, and given the fact that interest rates are still high, we'll say demand is up for housing, but you're not seeing as much demand as you had previously when interest rates are lower. Once interest rates start falling, I think that could reverse. But Home Depot does follow, I'll say, the consumer softness that you've seen from other retailers. So consumers are, we'll say, cautious. I'm not sure that they are spent up, but they're definitely not pent up. So that could, of course, change as we get closer to the holidays, and definitely, we'll say, after the election. So it's going to be some interesting things. Volatility will probably continue in the marketplace, although it's down significantly from a week ago when the Bank of Japan had raised interest rates unexpectedly, which blew up the yen-dollar currency trade, and a lot of large-scale, we'll say, speculators got caught off sides. And as we've said previously, that's the currency trades can be highly leveraged in order to make money on small movements. And if you get caught off sides and are on a lot of margin, whether it's in currency trades, bond trades, stock trades, or real estate trades, you've got to either sell or come up with more money to cover that margin loan. That's what I said happened last week. And that trade and that volatility has continued into this week. And then add to that, still some concerns about corporate, or I'll say guidance for the next quarter and maybe next 6 months coming from companies as they report earnings.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Has there been a time in United States history, or is it a common thing? I got to believe the people in charge of raising and lowering rates try to fix elections doing that. Does that happen?
I don't think so. I think they want to avoid. I think they want to avoid the even the view that they have impact on elections by not moving up or down immediately prior to the election. So the Federal Reserve wants to maintain its independence. I think both candidates seem to be talking that, we need to have more control of the Federal Reserve, right, and or a direct say in what the Fed does in a better effort to have more of their own control on the economy. Now, speaking of elections, a lot can be said about somebody's finances and their views on business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I take, we'll say Donald Trump, when he was president, he was focused very much on what was going on in the bond market and the stock market, under the belief that if the stock market was going up, he was doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was his view as not only a small businessman and we'll say a real estate developer, but also someone who was or had been active in investing in stocks. Definitely understood the role of the stock market, understood the role of, we'll say, private investment. On the other hand, you have the disclosures from President Biden. No stocks. Might have a few mutual funds, but no stocks. His net worth is in his personal residences, so he has some real estate, and his wealth is tied up in pensions and insurance annuities. And you can see from things that he has said, don't like the stock market. Private enterprise may not be we'll say, is not the leader of the economy. Government is the solution. If I look now at the current Democratic candidates, you see a little difference. Kamala Harris and her husband do own stocks, we'll say indirectly through mutual funds. So they have passive index funds. I think in Harris's case, she has revealed through her financial statements that she owns eight different mutual funds or exchange traded funds through her retirement accounts. Her husband has 30 different exchange traded funds or passive index funds. So you don't have to worry about them getting, we'll say, inside information and capitalizing on that, because their money is in index funds. I have not seen Vance's disclosure, but I would guess, given his background, having worked in venture capital, that he does own stocks and is aware of the importance of private investment. Vice presidential pick, Governor Walz, as I'll say, if you were to look at him as a 60-year-old, you'd say, what the heck? You've got very little net assets. You have no real estate. You're going to have a tough time retiring, pal, because you have very little net worth and your assets are invested primarily in insurance annuities and in your government pensions. So just looking at how these people invest can give me a window into how they might treat business.
There you have it. All right, Palomino, you going to be in on Friday?
I will see you on Friday, and I might have to stop this week just to get some takeout from Sammy at Leela's.
Oh, works for me.
I can see him, because we didn't see him last week.
No, we did not, but I'll go with you when you do it.
Okay.
All right, Pally. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. Kristyn Burtt up next.
I've been tracking the weather in Minnesota for a long time. I'm 5 Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Ken Barlow. In the morning, I've got to be right, because my forecast affects your family's entire day. And in the evening, you can count on my friend, Ren.
That's right, Ken. I'm 5 Eyewitness News evening meteorologist Ren Claire. And as a Minnesotan, I know our weather can be tricky. Throughout the day and into the night, I've got you covered with an accurate forecast to help keep your family safe and ready for any weather.
And don't forget, no matter how things change or what time of day, you'll always get our forecast first at the start of every newscast on 5 Eyewitness News. Start your day with me, Ken Barlow.
And wrap up your day with me, Ren Claire.
Because 5 Eyewitness News is always tracking our weather, so you're always alerted first. It's why 5 Eyewitness News is Minnesota's weather authority.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
I hosted my show on the radio for 40 years. Now I host the Tom Barnard Podcast. And I'll tell you, I've never seen the passion and engagement from our audience as I do now. I know we also have businesses that listen to our podcast, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be great to help those businesses grow by telling my listeners about them? So here's the deal. If you own or handle marketing for a business, would like to have my audience buy your product or service, visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and we'll put together an ad campaign to help your business. That's TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and thank you for listening.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at TomBarnardShow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kristyn Burtt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Kristyn Burtt with us. I got to read you 2 headlines to show you how lucky you are to not live here anymore.
Okay.
Okay. How long did you live here?
2 years.
I still can't believe I never met you when you lived here.
You haven't met me now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's only been 12 years or something. I don't, but I suppose you were working with Jesse, and Jesse was pissed off at me most of the time. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's what it was.
That might have been it.
I'm going to give you 2 examples. And I don't want to ask everybody this question because some data is looking pretty interesting. Charges. This is from the Star Tribune, both of these headlines. Charges. Man placed hidden camera inside men's locker room at Lifetime Fitness. So the guy wanted to check out some Weenski, apparently. So that's number 1 headline.
Wieners.
And the headline.
The Wiener Cam.
The Wiener Cam. That's exactly right. Wiener Cam. That's a good name for it. The story right beneath that one, rape charge added to 2 other sexual assault allegations against masseur at Twin City Spa. He is the 2nd staff member at the same spa to be accused of sex crimes this year. What the hell is going on what is with the sex crimes all of a sudden?
I think they're being reported more. I think that's why it feels like there are more. I think they've always existed in the universe, but people feel more empowered to report them now than they did even 5 years ago.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that because there was a story I've been reading. It's not really well publicized yet, but I just got some data from a couple of different friends of mine. There is a great concern. You know, the problems with alcohol and people, when they get drunk would act very weird. Mm-hmm. There is some indication now and some studies saying that THC desensitizes people. And that's why so many people are off the deep end now, because THC is legal and they think that it desensitizes people. Now, again, if you I'm not saying these guys did that, but the data is out there saying that. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Even if I wanted the wiener cam, I couldn't build up the courage to take the time to put cameras in a locker room at Lifetime Fitness. You know what I mean?
Right. People are walking in and out of a locker room all of the time.
All
So
the
you have to be strategic about that and put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
That's strange.
And I mean, two sexual assault allegations at the same spa. I mean, man. See, but do you think that might be possible that THC is desensitizing the entire population of the United States who gets involved in that kind of thing?
I'm gonna call BS on that one.
In other words, you hit the pipe this morning.
They've been smoking weed for a long time.
No, I know.
I don't think that. Weed would be the culprit for. I mean, maybe for some of the situations, but I don't think there's like an overarching epidemic going on.
And if I do weed, I'm totally paranoid. So that I'm the opposite end of the spectrum of like desensitization.
I just want snacks and to go to bed.
But they specifically talked about the gummy THCs. So is there a big difference? I don't have any idea if there's a big difference between smoking it or
no. It's all this.
But, they might be putting little additions into that product that we don't know about. Is that a possibility?
I mean, I'm sure you can probably get bad ones if you go to somebody that like makes them in their house. But if you're going to the store to purchase them, most of the time, you know exactly what's in there.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably true. I know we finally got to get the most important thing that, I mean, many people don't know this, but Kristyn Burtt's best friend is Blake Lively, who was named the most obnoxious person in all of Hollywood in an article this morning.
Well, I told you we should talk about this.
Yes, you did.
So that means I was ahead of this article. Just know that I am ahead of the trends and the curve.
Did you write this article? Were you writing
I did not. I promise you I did not. But you think when I'm sometimes pushing pop culture on you, I'm like, this is what everyone is talking about.
You know, Kristyn, what's amazing is we named 3 people. Tevin named one, AJ named one, and I named one. None of those 3 people even made the list of the top 10. So there's got a lot of bad people in Hollywood, apparently.
Is Gwyneth Paltrow on the annoying list?
Was she?
No, I forgot about her, but no, she wasn't.
I don't think so.
I'm surprised. Honestly, she's a delight to interview. I'm not going to lie. She's very funny and self-deprecating, and I found that delightful when I did interview her, and that was for Iron Man 3. Okay. But I do find some of her goop, like the goop bubble, just very strange. It's like all of the Brentwood Pacific Palisades moms, and they almost border on like, we do vaccines, but maybe not. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing where they go so crunchy. I don't know. She's an interesting one.
I want to run the 3 people we picked by you because none of the 3 of them made the list. Devin, yours was?
I said Ariana Grande.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I have a few friends who worked on Wicked with her, and they adore her and love her. I do find it interesting because she had that scandalous affair allegedly on set with her co-star Ethan Slater, which blew up 2 marriages, and everyone is still very protective of Ariana. So there has to be some goodness there.
Oh, that's a good.
And I'm talking about this like kind of like secondhand, but I find that interesting.
AJ, your pick was?
It was Charlize Theron.
Ooh.
I don't know if that was
Now, I've interviewed Charlize twice. I like to just like, people have good days and bad days on the red carpet or at press junkets. So you always have to kind of give them a little bit of like, the opportunity to redeem themselves. But the first time she used to be really hard to interview and really difficult and kind of the ice queen. Since she's had kids, I think she's a little bit more approachable and open and relatable. So I don't find her annoying. I just don't really find her really in the celebrity zeitgeist. What don't you like about her?
No, it was just if I had to guess, she's just I remember hearing like stories and articles about how she had kind of like had some stuff happen on set. So I assumed just based on like my faint memories that maybe she was just tough to work with or something. But
yeah, I mean, I think she is a strong personality, first of all, which I get because I'm a strong personality. And I didn't have a great experience with her interviewing her at the Oscars. And then I interviewed her 2 years ago and it was lovely. So maybe there's growth there.
Yeah. And I like her work. It's just, the same with, I think Russell Crowe was on the list too. And I love his work. But
Russell Crowe's a pain in the butt. No, that is, he's on the list.
That's what I hear. My choice, and I think, AJ and Tevin both pointed out that you've mentioned this before. My choice was The Rock, and he was not on the list.
I think he's on the precipice of getting on the list. That's what I would say. I think that he is like towing the line because he's been the guy that like everybody loves. Doesn't matter your political beliefs, doesn't matter what type of movies you watch. He's been the every guy. He's a girl dad. And I think it started to turn a little bit. He had his fight with Vin Diesel. And then, there was the backlash from the Maui Fire Fund that he did with Oprah Winfrey. Like, there's just like people are sort of starting to call him out on some of his BS because you can't be that perfect all of the time and everything can't be great. And you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to just be neutral about everything. It starts to creep in and people are just calling out celebrities like they never have before. And the cult of celebrity doesn't exist the way it did 10 years ago.
Right.
So I think I would say he's on the verge. He's maybe number 11 if it's a top 10 list.
So you personally think he should be on the list?
I think he's almost on the list. I think he's like, if this is like a top 10 list, he might be like 11 or 12. He's hovering.
And then we asked our listeners and they said Kristyn Burtt. Oh, no,
I would totally understand that.
I totally understand completely. So what's going on in your world today, sister? You pointed this out over the years and the months and the days and the weeks. You pretty much nailed the entire top 10 for us, and the bubbling under rock coming toward the not
bubbling underneath the surface. Yeah, I think
absolutely.
I think, yeah, you just start to see TikTok is a great litmus test of like what is about to burst into the mass mainstream. Yep. And I think that that's when you start seeing when people start complaining about like Oprah doesn't have the same cachet that she had.
No, God.
She also got caught up in that sort of the Maui Fund and she's a billionaire. And so she pretends to be of the people and she did come from humble beginnings and she's made herself into this incredible media mogul. But the higher up you go, the smaller your bubble and worldview becomes. Because now you're just hanging out with the other really filthy rich people.
I asked everybody this question, and I asked our listeners to send in their lists. Do you have a person in media, whether it's radio, television, podcasting, whatever? Do you have a couple of people that you just don't care for?
I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this name, and Tom, you're going to say, who is this? And it is Alex Cooper for Call Her Daddy. AJ, Tevin, do you guys know who she is?
Yeah, I'm not shocked by that.
Wait, is that the podcast?
Yeah, that's she used to be Barstool. She used to date like Noah Syndergaard, I want to say, for the pitcher at the time for the Mets. And now she has an insanely popular podcast. And I know I think she did Olympic coverage.
But that's the thing.
Oh, does she not?
So reportedly her Spotify deal is ending and she's looking to go somewhere else and get that same type of sweetheart deal that she got. I think she got about 100 million. Like she got like the Harry and Meghan treatment. And I think what's interesting is NBC just used her for the Olympics. And I actually feel bad for her. And it's not that she like annoys me. I don't love her interview style. It's not very strong, but she has a segment producer who must give her all these cards and she can't get off the cards and she's stuck in them. And even there was an NBC clip and I said to my husband, why did they keep that clip? And you could see her like looking down and they kept cutting to her while she was looking down at the cameras. I don't know if this was a live shot at the time. And I'm like, they've become a crutch for her. She needs to just toss it away and actually have a conversation. It's okay to have prepared questions and they're there as a safety net, but they shouldn't be like, I've got question 1, I've got question 2, I've got question 3. So I could be, let's say I'm interviewing Tevin and we're talking about the weather and he makes this great point about a tornado he was in. And then all of a sudden I'm like, tell us about your girlfriend. And you're like, well, wait a minute. We were just talking about this tornado.
Yeah. So she's a terrible interviewer.
It is. But it's because they have I think she has a huge support system, but now they've given her this crutch. And she can't get off of it. She's not allowed to like grow and learn to have a conversation instead of just asking questions.
Yeah. My girlfriend used to listen to her podcast all the time. And when she would have it playing and she's getting ready, and I'd be like, this is kind of terrible. Like it's not the most, and obviously I'm not the demographic that she's like aiming for her show, but it was, yeah, like you're saying, Kristyn, there was a lot of awkward moments and pauses and just randomness that would happen. And you're like, you should probably work on your craft a little bit more.
Yeah. And the facial expressions, like,
she does.
And they just cut to that. They cut to that now because I think that they just don't know what to do with like the awkward moments or the pauses. And I actually feel bad for her because I felt like she was drowning during the Olympics coverage. And I was like, who has her back? Because when you're having those moments, you want a segment producer like helping you out as much as possible. You don't want people just like, letting you go out there and sinking. It's not fun.
How did she ever get so big?
Barstool Sports.
I mean, but what is that? I don't even know what that is.
That's like the massive behemoth in podcasting. They rivaled ESPN. They've kind of, I guess, for their standards, have plateaued a little bit. But I mean, Barstool, I mean, everybody that's been on that show is
Dave
famous.
Portnoy. Yeah.
So now who's the host of that?
Well, it was Dave.
All a bunch
Yeah,
of
it's
different...
like, I think it was like 3 guys that kind of started it. And now it's just like, I mean, it's a rivals ESPN as far as like sports coverage goes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's definitely like a bro network. They have women there, but you're hanging with the bros. And I think, and Call Her Daddy came out of that. And it was Alex and who was it? Sophia
Franklin,
I think, yeah, something like that was her co-host. And then they had a big split and Alex got to keep Call Her Daddy and it went to Spotify and she made a huge deal.
Yeah. $60 million for 3 years.
60. Okay, good.
I never even heard of her. That's amazing. I've never even heard of her.
I'm not surprised.
She's pretty new on the scene in terms of like podcasting and stuff. Yeah.
She exploded within the last 4 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I've been kind of busy running around doing all that stuff. But if we do the biggest prick I've ever met list, I'm going to have to go with a podcaster.
Yeah, you take your pick of which. Just throw it.
Joe Rogan.
You are correct. He might be the biggest prick I've ever met. Have you had trouble dealing with him?
It's interesting because when I came to Los Angeles, Joe Rogan was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
and he was like the Fear Factor host. And he was again, he was kind of that like bro, like, it's all about the guys and that like hyper masculine, a little bit toxic, that doesn't feel very welcoming to women in the room, honestly.
Or anybody for that matter. I mean, my son-in-law loves listening to him. He thinks but see Andy Fisher, my best friend, was not a very big guy. He was like 5'7", weighed about $150, maybe the toughest guy I've ever met. So I'm not condemning all people, but Joe Rogan has a little man's disease. He does not like the fact that he's not a big guy.
So he's big this way. He pumps up the muscles.
And when he covers UFC and you're hanging around all these tough guys, I think he starts to think like, I might be just as tough as these guys that are in here beating everybody to a pulp.
Yeah, so I'm not saying little men are all like that. They're not. But there are some guys who are smaller who you can't get past that. It's just, oh, my God, relax.
You have to learn to be a short king because women love short kings.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. That's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Leaning into the Napoleon complex of it all.
I guess so. But
my cousin's a short king and people just gravitate towards him.
There you go. Nothing wrong. Like I said, Andy Fisher, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, but looking at him, you go, oh, that's a big deal. He could kick ass like you wouldn't believe. He was just a wonderful guy, very supportive. He was my best friend my whole life, one of those kind of guys. So now that we've ruined everyone's career,
they're going to all do fine. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's the other.
We're not ruining Alex's career. Joe Rogan is doing just fine.
Yeah, he is. No doubt about it. All right. Any closing words, sister?
You know what? I just was thinking, I was looking at because I know you love Walter Goggins. You're like obsessed with him, right?
Walton Goggins is one of my favorites. No doubt.
Well, I just saw the photos for White Lotus season 3 and he's all over it. So can we get you to watch this?
Are they going to show any more wieners on the
Probably.
screen? Oh, for Christ's sake. I don't tune in to look at schwanz. You know what I mean?
There might be some boobs.
You know. Oh, AJ's he perked up. What do you say?
What?
So White Lotus season what? 3 or 4?
3. It's not coming out till 2025. But I saw the photos from set. They've just wrapped filming in Thailand, and so I think it's going to be a good season because they each have different themes to it. You know, sex, money, power.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I avoided Loudermilk until you told me to watch it, and now I love the show. It's good, so maybe I should go back and should I start White Lotus from the beginning again?
And maybe we can hold off on this until we know the official release date for White Lotus, and then we can like ease you in for season 1, 2, into 3. Because I'll tell you, it's a fantastic show. Did you guys watch it, Tevin and AJ?
No.
I'm surprised actually.
I might have to give it a shot. What's it on?
I know my sister and mom.
HBO.
Okay, that's probably why I haven't watched. That's like the one streaming service that I'm like, not getting.
Yeah, well, I'll take advantage of like the free month or whatever, and then just binge watch it because it's really good. And it's kind of the rise of Sydney Sweeney too.
I thought she got popular in Euphoria.
She did, but this was like they kind of like were at the same time. And White Lotus was like supposed to be a kind of pandemic throwaway, like, we'll just all go to the 4 seasons, we'll film something, we'll bang something out, we'll get some content, and it wound up being this massive hit.
Tomorrow, can we talk about the drama on the set of what is it? It starts with us, it ends with us, or whatever it is.
It ends with us, yes. Okay. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni.
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. We promised it today. We're going to do it tomorrow.
All right, we'll do it tomorrow.
It'll be the first thing I talk about, I promise.
Thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You bet. Bye.
Kristyn Burtt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. That's going to do it for this show. But the family show will kick off in 8 minutes, usually 10, but today it's 8. We'll be back.